Hello, my name is Duane Hoover, and I have a declaration. Ich bin ein Burner. I am a burner. For the last 18 years, I've traveled to the Black Rock Desert and participated in the Burning Man event at a very special place called Black Rock City. Here's what that playa looks like. It's an open place with almost no, there's nothing there. And what we do every year at the Burning Man event is construct a city. 68,000 people last year lived in that city. Now, over the years, while I've been attending the Burning Man event, I've seen thousands of people engage in transformative experiences as they interact with the art and as they experience the sense of community that Burning Man affords. Also, for most of my life, I've been an educator. And as an educator, I've been very interested in transformative learning. Transformative learning, as I define it, means being able to see things in a new way, or perhaps more importantly, being able to have the capacity to see things in a new way or a different way at will. And then finally, lately, in my academic pursuits, I've gotten into the field of sociology, particularly the work of Victor Turner and the concept of liminality. Liminality is an interesting concept about change because what Turner says, in a liminal zone, a zone where change can occur, you have to cross a threshold. Like, this is the current state I'm in. I step forward into the new state. You don't go back to the old state. You stay in the new state. And that threshold concept, it really interests me because of the power it represents. So this year it all came together for me at the Burning Man event. I got together with some friends. I got a couple of video cameras, a tape recorder, and I went around and interviewing artists. By the way, here's the Burning Man symbol. For those of you familiar with Burning Man, this is the iconic figure. Again, a sense of community. Also, Burning Man has a sense of culture. Now, Black Rock City is a whimsical place. Here's a sign that I took a picture of last year at the event. Black Rock City subway station. Trains run every 15 minutes from this point to the depths of your imagination. So what's a city like that's dedicated to something as whimsical, if you would, as the depths of your imagination on an imaginary subway? And the answer to that is art. Hundreds of pieces of art created by various artists for the purpose of the participants, 68,000 of them, to immerse themselves in and participate in. Here's an example. This is the temple that was built at the event last year. Beautiful piece of work, as you can see. By the way, this is solid wood, no nails, no fastening devices entailed. Inside the temple is a beautiful altar. This is several pieces of stone, each weighing over 1,000 pounds each. And notice, if you would, when you look at the temple, that it's basically blank. It's like an empty canvas. And as the event proceeds, and as people interact with this piece of art, they express themselves through the art. I took this picture at the beginning of the week, just after the temple was open. At the end of the week, it looks like this. This is just one little shot. Thousands of messages written on the walls on the inside and outside of the temple, lots of decorations and things of personal meaning brought in by people. And this is where I began to understand the concept of space as created by the artist, the temple, and then how people transformed that into something that had personal meaning to them. I call that place. I'll have more to say about that in just a second. This is the temple burning. It is Burning Man. So the temple burned on a Sunday night, just to let you know it's not there anymore. Sorry, my clicker is not working. There we go. This is the man this year, what we call the man icon. Because of the art theme this year, he was on top of a giant flying saucer. And by the way, all the pieces of art at Burning Man aren't so grandiose. This is one of my favorite pieces. I'm sorry. This is a shopping cart. As you can see, a grocery shopping cart, and it's full of brains. And on the ground around outside it are a number of brains, and there's a bench in the front. Let's visit that bench a little bit more. You see some people on the bicycle approaching from the distance. They're going to come up to this art piece. If they choose to interact with it, they'll sit on the bench, think about what a basket full of brains means to them. There's a journal there to record their thoughts, and I've read many of the art entries in that journal. There were many experiences of transformation and personal change. So the question is, what is the artist trying to do when he's creating this environment for this transformation? So I interviewed a number of artists. This is one of the artists who created the temple. And I asked him, why did you build the temple, essentially? His answer was, my intent is to create a space. Notice he uses the word space. My intent is to create a space where people feel safe enough to look within themselves. But I pressed him on this issue, and I said, look, I know you built a nice temple. I saw it. It looks cool. But what do you want people to do? How do you want them to behave? What are your expectations? And he very strongly and adamantly said, I have no expectations for what people do here. So I began to understand that artists feel like they're creating a liminal zone, if you would, an openness, an opportunity for people's expression. So then I went on and interviewed a number of participants. I found a young lady sitting outside the temple. She had tears in her eyes, obviously very emotional. She was serving tea to anyone who wanted to sit and talk and share time with her. And I asked her, why did you pick this location? Why are you sitting outside the temple? Why are you here? And she said, this place, and she used the term place, this place gives me the chance to be myself without anyone except myself telling me how I should act or what I should do. And then she told me a very personal story about her growth and transformation and change. And so I asked her this question. So what happens? What's the outcome? And her answer was, I sit in this temple. I look into myself, and I am transformed. I am transformed. And she told me that story, as I said, with tears in her eyes. So I went to the man, and there was a young man standing underneath the base in a horrible sandstorm. I could barely see the guy from 50 yards away. And he was just standing there looking up, and so I went to him, and I said, why? Do you mind if I ask you a question about why you're here? And he said, no. This is my place. Then he very deliberately pointed up to the man, which was above, I showed you the picture earlier, up above him. And he said, I come here every year to find another piece of myself. I come here every year to find another piece of myself. And then I began to understand the power of what I call whole person transformative learning, a whole person change. Because there's intellectual change. There's ideas and thoughts and frames of references and philosophies perhaps yet undreamed of. There's emotional change. You can unearth vistas of emotion or personal expression that perhaps you didn't even know you were capable of. There's behavioral change. You can develop capacities and potentialities and skills and abilities that perhaps you never even knew you could pull off. And then finally, in the context, especially here, I think there's spiritual change. Spiritual change is where you find identity in yourself, a sense of purpose, and perhaps even a definition of yourself in the larger world outside of yourself. So when you combine all these things together, the combination of whole person transformational learning and change with the power of liminality and the potentialities of liminality, what you get is a very powerful combination. Now, the story I've told you here occurred in this place, nowhere, literally in the middle of nowhere. A city was built, 68,000 people came and shared art, as we do every year at the Burning Man event, and transformative change occurred. And what I want you to take away from my little talk today is that this doesn't just happen in the middle of nowhere. It happens when you do it with intent. An artist creates intent. He has a liminal intent to cause people to have experiences. Artists then have that art consumed by participants who take it and internalize it and imbue it with personal meaning, imbue it with personal identity, and make it part of their lives and make it part of themselves going forward. So can you just do it in the desert, in the middle of nowhere? No. You can do it anywhere and anywhere you want. Thank you for your attention. Appreciate it.